Good afternoon and welcome to the Starr Midday News. And coming up in the bulletin, anxiety grips residents of Mepe over possible dam spillage as VRA hints at another spillage in the coming months.
And psychologically, we started thinking already that is it going to happen like it was last year? We don't know yet. So we are only hoping that they will come and engage us, the kind of preparation or measures that need to be put in place.
Also in the bulletin, International Arbitration Tribunal finds unitization directors of Government of Ghana wrongful in the ENI Vitol case, describing it as contrary to the country's own laws. Meanwhile, CSOs in the energy sector are challenging the Attorney General's claims of saving the country over $6 billion after the tribunal awarded $915 million in damages against the state. Also in the bulletin, West Africa Examination Council cautions invigilators against depriving candidates from writing the ongoing BSc because of alleged unprescribed attire or sandals.
It is against the rule for anyone to prevent a candidate from writing the exam, except that the candidate's behavior is dangerous to the rest of the candidates in the examination hall. For dress code, I don't think that should be a reason for which somebody should prevent them from writing an examination.
And later on, we will head to Minchia, the Minchia Palace specifically, where the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is expected to introduce his running mate to the Asantehene Otumfuo Setutu ahead of his unveiling later today. Details of these stories and many more, including sports, are coming up in the next 30 minutes. Stay tuned in. You're welcome once again to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM here in Accra. We are coming to you live from our studios at the Platinum Place. And we are also live on Ultimate FM in Kumasi, Empire FM in Takrady, Zeps FM in Zebila, other affiliates across the country, around the world. We are on My Star Radio. We're also live on Facebook. Tune in for the very latest in terms of news. My name is Naa Dedei Tettey. To the details of our stories now. And anxiety has gripped the people and residents of Mepe in the Volta region over a possible spillage of the Akosombo Dam. The Volta River Authority has hinted at another controlled dam spillage to maintain its structural integrity. Only last year, more than 35,000 people were displaced. The authority faced criticism for failing to engage and relocate the affected communities before the spillage. Now, in a statement signed by Deputy Chief Executive of Services, Engineer Ken Arthur, the VRA will begin stakeholder engagement to ensure there are no repeats of last year's incident. Here are details of the statement from the VRA.
The Volta River Authority, VRA, intends to commence engagements regarding the potential controlled spillage of water from the Akosombo Dam. This precautionary measure is crucial in maintaining the structural integrity of the dam and ensuring the safety of our communities. We propose to engage you and the relevant team to discuss the potential implications, mitigative measures, and information dissemination. The undersigned will be following up to confirm the suitability of the dates and times for the engagement.
You heard the details of that statement issued by the Volta River Authority. Well, Public Relations Officer of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, George AC, confirmed plans are underway to begin sensitization.
There's lessons that is going to guide and inform us on how to do the community engagements going forward. And so now that VRA is brought out this release and that they are going to undertake a controlled spillage, there's been a standing technical committee with NADMO, VRA itself, and other stakeholders that are involved, which includes representatives from all the 9 districts downstream the Volta Lake. And so we've been having that engagement. But now that there's a decision that there's going to be this control spillage, we need to get community sensitization and engagement along all these downstream districts. And so, yes, we will do that. And there are lessons that will guide us in doing that. So, yes, we are not just going to do it as NADMO and VRL. We'll have that engagement with the team, the Director General in charge of technical and reforms on that committee. So he will give us the briefing, and then we kickstart the community engagement. It's going to go down from the community zonal level to the district level, then to the region, and the national team will all be part of this community sensitization.
What was the situation with what happened last year?
Situation as in people have, some have been settled in places. The MP has got a place. Government has also made commitment to getting a resettlement place for.
So how soon will the resettlement plan by government come into fruition?
Well, I cannot give you a specific date, but I know for a fact the process has begun.
You had there the public relations officer of the National Disaster Management Organization, George A.C., speaking earlier to GH1 and Star News' Lily Mohammed, who is on GH1 Newsroom at the moment. Well, let's bring you more in relation to that. Residents in some of the affected communities, they have been gripped with anxiety. In Mepe, for instance, which was one of the hardest hit communities, residents continue to relive memories of last year's spillage and its aftermath. Amos Ahosu Bolo is the assembly member for Mepe.
Psychologically, it's affecting us already. Because it happened just last year. Damage cost is still there. Loss of properties and then all that, our buildings were down. So for us to be hearing this news again, it's a disturbing thing.
The residents in your community healed, or have some of them healed from the trauma?
The problem is still there. Some are still in the camps. Whenever it rains, it disturbs them. They are still trapped in the tent.
How then do you take this news? Are you ready for another spillage? Have there been measures put in place to control the extent of damage? Should there be a spillage anytime soon? The VRA is hinting that.
Yeah, that is the news in the public domain. And yesterday night I spoke to our district coordinator of NADMO. He told me that they're also going for a meeting at the home today. So I think later, before they'll be coming to engage us as a community, give us briefing and measures that they are thinking to put in place. And already we have a safe haven protocol is with St. Vito. Yeah, with a signpost there, but how prepared is the case? We don't have toilet facility, urinal, bathhouse, and are they going to accommodate us in a classroom, or they are going to mountains, all prepared with the environment? In case it happens today, what are we going to do? Should the order do that we should move? How is it going to be like? We don't know yet.
You had there the assembly member for Mepe speaking there to Lily Mohammed earlier on Newsroom on GH1 Television. The assembly member's name is Amos Ahosu. You're still listening to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. Let's now head to the courts because the Circuit Court in Accra has rescinded its bench warrant issued for the arrest of a military officer accused of being involved in a 136,000 recruitment scam. Now, Captain Abdel Nati, stationed at the Army Headquarters Burma camp, who is alleged to have collected 120,000 CDs out of the 136,000 CDs, together with one other to facilitate the enlistment of some persons into the various security services in the country were produced by the military on Tuesday. Captain Abdel Nate pleaded not guilty to the 2 counts of offense of conspiracy and defrauding by false pretenses. Let's speak to our legal affairs correspondent, Mutala Inusa, for more on this as to what he can tell us in relation to this issue. And now, Mutala, so as we understand it, it was the military that brought Captain Abdel Nate to the court today.
Hello, Naa Dedei.
Did you hear my question? Mutala?
Hello, Naa Dedei.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, Naa Dedei, I can hear you.
All right. Per what you gave to us earlier, per the information you gave us earlier, the military has brought the Captain Abdel to court today, correct?
Absolutely correct, Naa Dedei. The military officer in question, Captain Abdel Nate, was today produced in court by the military. And in fact, what the military has been telling the court is to the effect that representations from the police to the court that they've tried virtually everything to ensure that the military command or the armed forces produce the gentleman in question to filter. He says that that particular representation to the court was not correct. There's no messages to the military to the effect that they needed the accused person in question, and for that matter, coming to court to tell the court that they have tried virtually everything that they could, and it proved futile, cannot be correct. And in fact, that injures the reputation of the military high command, and they want the police apologize to that. And another day, it became a banter between the head of legal directorate of the Ghana Armed Forces and the prosecution in question, at the point in that one of them is describing the other as being a liar and all that languages that are too strong in the courtroom. But I must say that that particular presentation by way of producing the accused person ensured that the court, which the court presided over by just Mr. Samuel, his honor, Samuel Bright Aqua, rescinded that bench warrant which was issued for the arrest of Captain Abdel Nate. His plea on 2 counts, conspiracy and defrauding by false pretense, were taken in relation to some recruitment scam allegation in which amount of over 130,000 Ghana cedis said to be involved. What the court has done now is to admit him to bail in the self-recognizance bail for 150,000 Ghana cedis, and the court is saying that, look, he has to make sure he is available to the police to ensure that anytime the police need him for investigations, he is able to make himself available and all that. So yes, the captain in question, who was the subject matter of court warrants, has now found himself in a situation whereby the court has rescinded the bench warrant because the military high command, upon hearing that information on social media and other traditional media platforms, has been able to produce the accused person hearing, and he has pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of charges.
And so beyond this particular case, anything else happening in court? Beyond this case, is anything else happening in court?
Now the issue of the cocoa board case is also another case that is up in court today. In a subsequent bulletin, we'll bring out to speed whatever has happened in relation to that.
Thank you very much. Mutala Inusa is our legal affairs correspondent. You're still listening to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. Let's switch our attention to issues relating to education. WAEC has a caution for invigilators and teachers in the ongoing basic education certificate examination. While the West African Examination Council, WAEC, has cautioned invigilators to desist from frustrating students who allegedly wear unapproved attire or sandals during the basic education certificate examination. Now, this follows reports that some invigilators are allegedly frustrating some candidates over claims that they are wearing unapproved sandals or uniforms. Now, over the years, the exam has been characterized by incidents of malpractices, among other issues, raising concern about the integrity of the exam. Well, according to the examination body, it is against the rules for invigilators to prevent a candidate from undertaking or participating in the examination unless the candidate is involved in a specific misconduct. Well, Head of Corporate Affairs at WAEC, John Kapi, spoke to Lantampa Panko on the Morning Star.
rule, a general rule that everybody be in sandals. No.
I mean, they need to be decently dressed. I mean, in this particular instance, they were wearing slippers, and I think one of the directors of education, I'm told, had to intervene to allow them to write the paper.
Yeah, I saw it myself. I read it in the dailies this morning, and I thought that, in fact, it is against the rule for anyone to prevent a candidate from writing an exam, except that a candidate's behavior is dangerous to the rest of the candidates in the examination hall or at the center. And even that one, if they are able to quarantine this person, he is allowed to write the examination, and afterwards they allow the law to take its course. So, I mean, for dress code, I don't think that should be a reason for which somebody should prevent them from writing an examination. No.
Okay, so that means if, I mean, for a peculiar reason, if a candidate is unable to, say, have the sandals and they are wearing slippers, or for one particular reason they're unable to properly adhere to the dress code, once they are duly registered, no one is to prevent them from taking the exam, correct?
Absolutely. I've been to some areas where, for the senior high school, they even asked to wear bathroom sandals to come and write the exam. I found it funny, but that's what they did in order to prevent them from, holding material on them into the examination hall. But then at least they were properly covered. I mean, they had their pair of trousers, their shirts on, neatly tucked in. There were some areas they even had them not to tuck in just so that they don't hide anything. I mean, these are ways by which they locally are trying to prevent any forms of malpractice or having the candidate, hold things on them. But I think that there should be a human face to all of this.
You heard there the public relations officer of the West Africa Examination Council, the head of corporate affairs, I beg your pardon, of WAEC, John Kapi. Meanwhile, the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition is urging the Ghana Education Service to revoke the licenses of teachers who engage in examination malpractices and publish their names in the dailies. National Coordinator for GNEC, Benis Mpere Jeche, has been speaking to Star News.
So this is where GES should take a very strict measures to make sure that these teachers are severely punished, and then the learners are also punished according to the laws that we have. And then we publish them with their name and pictures all over the media, and this is going to serve as a deterrent for others to desist from such as yes, especially for teachers that are aiding students to engage in more practices. Their licenses should be withdrawn with immediate effect. Their names and pictures should be published in all the dailies, and then even if possible, prosecution should come in. And when this is done, it will deter others from doing things.
You heard there the national coordinator for GNEC, Benis Mpere Jeche there. You're still listening to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. Let's move on to some other stories. We can talk about issues relating to the energy sector. And the International Arbitration Tribunal has found the unitization directives of the government of Ghana wrongful in the ENI and Vitol case, describing it as contrary to the country's own laws and international laws. Now, in April 2020, the Minister of Energy directed that the Afina oil block held by Springfield E&P and the Sankofa field operated by ENI and Vitol should be unitized because the two blocks were set to straddle. Now, the directive required that an agreement be reached for the development and production of the blocks because the accumulation of the petroleum in the Sankofa and Afina fields were a single unit. However, ENI refused to heed the directive, insisting that both appraisal and commerciality had to be established before any unitization process could be taken. Now, in June 2021, the Ghanaian Oil and Gas Exploration and Production Company Springfield won a ruling at the Accra High Court, the commercial division, ordering the Italian Swiss Oil and Gas Consortium ENI and Vitol to set aside 30% of the oil proceeds from the Sankofa field and an escrow account pending the final determination of the matter. Well, dissatisfied with the directive and the ruling, the consortium triggered the jurisdiction of the International Tribunal in September 1, 2021. Well, in the London Court of International Arbitration's final ruling, in the commercial dispute, the court specifically found that the imposition of the unitization terms were wrongful and that the determination of the initial tract participation was arbitrary. Well, in a statement, the Attorney General, Godfrey Eboadame, highlighted what he terms to be the positive news for the Republic, which is the tribunal's denial of the claimant's monetary damages, initially $7 billion and subsequently reviewed to $915 million plus interest by the end of the proceedings. Let me bring you details of the statement issued by the Attorney General Godfrey Eboadame. He says here that on 8th July 2024, the International Arbitration Tribunal, in the action instituted by E&I Ghana Exploration and Production Limited and Vitol Upstream Ghana Limited, collectively called claimants, against the government of Ghana and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, issued its final award. Now, the tribunal dismissed the claimant's request that the tribunal declare that Ghana breached the petroleum agreement by refusing to withdraw or prevent reliance on third parties on the unitization directives. Now, the tribunal also dismissed the claimant's request that Ghana notify the High Court, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court of Ghana and the unitization directives were issued in breach of the petroleum agreement. The tribunal found that in the circumstances in which they were issued, the unitization directives breached the petroleum agreement. That is to say, the specific unitization directives were contrary to the applicable regulations and thereby breached Article 26(2) of the petroleum agreement. It goes on and on and on and says that the tribunal denied the claimant's all the claimant's claims to monetary damages or compensation. The claimants claimed $7 billion United States dollars, which was subsequently reviewed to $915 million United States dollars plus interest by the end of the proceedings. Now, this was dismissed in its entirety. Now, it goes on to say that the tribunal also dismissed in their entirety the claimant's claims against GNPC. And the concluding part of the statement by the Office of the Attorney General says that the public is hereby entreated to disregard such false publications about the E&I Vitol Award, which within the circumstances represents a major victory for the Republic of Ghana. But some CSOs are disagreeing with the Attorney General's assertion that eventually the country, won, essentially because he did not pay the entire $7 billion in damages. One of the such CSOs or persons within the CSO fraternity raising issues about the interpretation given to the ruling by the Attorney General is Theo Champon. He spoke to Lily Mohammed a while ago.
I don't think necessarily it's a claim or a victory for Ghana. You need to actually look at the specific reliefs that were sought by the claimant, and then also the specific reliefs that were sought by claimant made 9 claims, so that is E&I and Vitol, their partner. And then Ghana also made 8 counter claims as the respondent. And if you actually look at the claims that E&I did make, the first one was a declaration that the first respondent, that is Ghana, and GNPC breached the petroleum agreement by virtue of its conduct in issuing and or refusing to withdraw or prevent reliance by third parties on the unitization directives that had been given. And if you actually read the judgment that came through, it's quite clear, and they make it very emphatic, that Ghana indeed did breach the sections of the petroleum agreement, and basically the attempt to unitize was more like forcing the hand of the parties without recourse to the full technical processes that needed to be done. In this instance, the need to actually drill an appraisal well to confirm if indeed the fields that belong to E&I and their partners and Springfield, which is the other party in this case. My concern is basically this attempt by government spokespersons to create a certain narrative as though they had won the case, when in reality the substantive issue that brought them to all of this in the first place, which is that you are forcing parties to unitize without fully exhausting the processes, the technical processes. The court did rule that Ghana was in breach of the agreement that they had signed with ENI and their partners.
You had the Theo Champong speaking there to Lily Mohammed. Let's quickly do sports. And Jones Aji is here. Good afternoon to you, Jones. What's in sports?
Good afternoon. So, the Olympics is some weeks away, and the Ghana Olympic Committee has been boosted with sponsorship packages for Ghana's participation in the 2024 Paris Olympic Games from Republic Bank, Horseman Shoes, and then Custom Looks. Speaking at the presentation ceremony at the Ghana Olympic Committee's head office, Mr. Ben Nonu-Mensah, president of the Ghana Olympic Committee, has called for more corporate bodies to come on board to sponsor the team.
The opportunity of his question to appeal to corporate Ghana. You've seen what Republic Bank has done. You've seen even what the French embassy, it's amazing. The interest that Marine and the team has shown in Team Ghana in the last 2 years is unbelievable. And we really appreciate you, Marine. Thank you so much. And let His Excellency, the Ambassador, Julien, and everybody at the embassy, that entire Ghana says we're grateful for the French embassy. You've seen what our own brother Kwab has done, and you've also seen Horseman Shoes, who when they just saw it on the news and said, look, we want to be part of this, and we're giving shoes to everybody who is going to Paris. So corporate sponsors out there, these young boys and girls need your support. Most of the time, those young boys and girls who are talented in other disciplines apart from football hardly get people to come and hold them up. This is the time to show your love for these other sporting disciplines and show up for the Olympics.
And the team will leave for France today and camp in Strasbourg. And 9 athletes will represent Ghana at the games in the 100 meters, 200 meters, 4x100 meters, 50 meters freestyle swimming, and then 100 meters freestyle swimming, and of course high jump. The Paris Summer Olympic Games will begin on July 26th and end on the August 11th. There are 329 events in total with roughly 10,500 athletes from 184 countries. Now, finally, in the Euros, France will take on Spain today at 7 p.m. And coach Luis de la Fuente, coach of the Spanish side, believes his side are the best team in the tournament.
That we didn't win with the best team or something like that. It's just a super easy analysis from you. I think you're much more intelligent than that, than asking me that sort of question. What I mean is, for me, no matter what the result is, this team in principle is the best, but in front of us we are facing a terrific opponent, a national team that is as good as ours. But if you want a headline, this is what I think. I thought about that before, and I will think the same way when we leave.
All right, that'll be all for sports. My name is Jones Aji.
Thank you very much, Jones, with the very latest in the world of sports. Now, let's take you into the world of politics because there is a huge event coming up today in the political space. The governing New Patriotic Party is going to unveil its running mates in the person of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, and flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is expected to introduce his running mates to the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II in the at the Mesha Palace this afternoon, ahead of his unveiling as a party's running mate for the upcoming presidential elections on December 7th. Let's speak to our Ashanti regional correspondent, Isaac Bediako Justice, for more on this. Isaac, what is happening at the moment? Isaac, can you hear me? Isaac? Well, it appears Isaac Bediako cannot hear me. We can try and reestablish contact with Isaac Bediako Justice for more on this one, for us to just have a feel of what is happening in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, where ahead of the unveiling ceremony today of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as a running mate of the governing New Patriotic Party flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he will be introduced to the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II. We will try one more time if we're able to reach Bediako on the telephone line. Let's know what exactly is going to happen. But bear in mind that at 2 p.m. we will be coming to you live on GH1 television, as well as Star 103.5 FM and our other affiliates across the country. I will bring you a live coverage of that unveiling ceremony. We will start with a build up to the event. We will be live on GH1 television and Star 103.5 FM. We'll try one more time to see if we'll be able to reach Bediako Justice on the telephone line. If we are able to, we will gauge the mood in the Ashanti regional capital. Well, it doesn't look like luck is on our side today, going to the Ashanti region to speak to Isaac Bediako Justice. And that'll be it for today's edition of the Star Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. My name is Naa Dedei Tettey. Do bear in mind that we will be coming away live at 2 p.m. on GH1 Television and Star FM as we bring you a live coverage of the unveiling ceremony of Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh as a running mate of the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Thank you very much for your company. Good afternoon.